Welcome back to the Rolling Stones tier list. Dean the General from Three of a Kind. We're going to look at all their studio albums, starting with 1976's Black and Blue, a live album, compilation, and a few solo records. After Mick Taylor quit the band, they were auditioning guitarists, with Ron Wood eventually becoming the permanent replacement. The album itself is a pretty good mixture of various styles, holds up well. 2 years later, Some Girls was unleashed. It became their most commercially successful record aside from Hot Rocks. 1979 saw the release of Mick Taylor's self-titled debut. Haven't heard it enough, but certain tracks are definitely intriguing. In 1980, critics pounced on Emotional Rescue. However, it is also a pretty great album, definitely underrated. Tattoo You was comprised of numerous tracks recorded during the 70s, along with new ones, and is definitely their best of the post-exile Main Street era. A couple years later, they put out Undercover, probably their most disappointing album since it's only rock and roll. However, it does feature at least 4 or 5 interesting songs. In 1985, Mick Jagger released his debut solo album, She's the Boss. About half of it is good, the rest is dribble. A year later, the Rolling Stones released Dirty Work on CBS Records. The album is definitely a hit-and-miss affair, including a few notable tracks and some filler as well. The following year, Jagger's Primitive Cool was a relative improvement with a very interesting second half. 1 year later, Keith Richards put out his debut solo album, Talk Is Cheap. Similar to Mick Taylor, just haven't listened to it enough to make a proper judgment. In 1989, the Rolling Stones finally regrouped 4 years after the death of their amazing keyboard player, Ian Stewart. Steel Wheels was another underrated gem in their catalog, featuring several classic tunes. 2 years later, Flashpoint had a couple of new studio tracks, so we're going to include it here. Both are definitely worth checking out. The live stuff isn't all that special. In 1993, their lead singer released his best solo album, Wandering Spirit. Most of it is excellent. 1 year later, Voodoo Lounge brought the Stones back in a big way. However, it does not feature Bill Wyman, who had quit the band. Most of it is pretty good, although there are a few duds. 3 years later, 1997, Bridges to Babylon was a slight improvement, featuring about a half dozen really great tunes. 2002 saw the release of 40 Licks, which is mostly a compilation with 4 new tracks. They are all definitely interesting. In 2006, the Stones released A Bigger Bang. This one is definitely a grower, featuring a few really great songs and the obligatory filler we had come to expect from them by this point. It was 10 years later when Blue and Lonesome came out, all covers, featuring no lead vocals from Keith Richards. The first time this had happened since It's Only Rock and Roll. It is dismal for the most part, although the choice of songs is actually unpredictable, so that definitely helps out. In 2023, their first album, without Charlie Watts, who had died 2 years earlier, was released, Hackney Diamonds. Haven't really heard it enough to comment, although there are definitely 3 or 4 really great songs here. Check out Three of a Kind for videos on mostly pop rock music. And thanks for watching again.